All right, so get this. A brand new hockey league just dropped the puck on its very first season.
Wow.
We're talking about the HTFL, the Happy Time Friendship League, where, as you might guess, the love of the game is front and center.
Yeah, sounds fun.
It is fun, and we're diving into two of the most exciting games from week one. So get ready for some surprising plays and maybe even a little controversy.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so game one, blue versus yellow. And right off the bat, history is made.
Uh-oh.
John Kush scores the first ever goal in HTFL history, beating goalie Jonathan Tyson.
Wow, what a way to start it off.
5-hole. Not a bad way to start things off, right?
No, not at all. I'm curious to see if that early goal impacted the blue team's mindset. Did it give them like a burst of confidence, or did they maybe let up a little thinking it was going to be easy?
Well, that's a good point. And actually, the yellow team tied it up pretty quickly.
Okay.
But then blue managed to pull ahead again, and this one's a little controversial. The puck bounced off his skate and went in.
Oh, the classic lucky bounce.
Yeah.
Every hockey fan has a love-hate relationship with those.
Right.
But this game wasn't just about flukes. We also saw some serious skill out there.
For sure. Chris Fowler made this sweet drop pass to Bryson Peterson, who buried it for a beautiful goal, and then right off the faceoff, Tyler Higgins scores. Talk about quick reflexes.
Yeah, that goal really highlights how crucial face-off wins can be. You know, if you can gain possession right off the draw, especially in the offensive zone, it creates a huge scoring opportunity.
Okay, but then things got a little chippy.
Oh.
Lisa Neath from the yellow team got called for hooking.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that call?
Well, hooking is one of those penalties that can be a bit subjective, you know?
Right.
Was Neath really, impeding her opponent's movement, or was it just like a bit of incidental contact?
Yeah.
It's a tough call for the refs to make.
Yeah, and I bet we'll be seeing a lot more of those debated throughout the season.
Oh, for sure.
So blue ended up winning that one 6-4.
Okay.
Both goalies, Aaron Henry and Jonathan Tyson, had some great saves, but blue just had a bit more firepower.
Yeah, and if you look at the number of goals scored and how close the game was, it could suggest that the HTFL might be leaning towards a more offensive, fast-paced style of play.
Interesting.
Definitely something to keep an eye on as we see more games.
All right, let's move on to game two, red versus green.
Okay.
And guess what? Another first goal contender, Mark Braun, scores early for red, sharing that honor with Kush.
It's unusual to have the first goal in both opening games scored so early.
Right.
Definitely sets a tone of aggressiveness right from the start.
Yeah, and the green team wasn't backing down. Jeff Manning. This guy's a wizard on skates. He weaves through defenders and sets up Mike Fitzgerald for a goal. Then Manning goes on to score one himself.
Wow, what a performance.
He was electric.
Yeah, Manning's performance is a prime example of how individual talent can really influence a game.
Right.
He was making plays happen all over the ice.
But the green team, even when they were trailing, they never gave up. And then, boom, they tied up in the third period.
That turning point was fascinating. Green came out in the third with a different energy. They were more aggressive on the forecheck, forcing red to make mistakes. That shift in momentum completely changed the game.
And talk about a nail-biter ending. Red pulls ahead again, and with seconds ticking away, green pulls their goalie for an extra attacker.
Pulling the goalie is always a risky move.
Yeah.
But when you're down a goal with time running out, it can be your only option, you know? You're essentially trading defense for offense, hoping to create chaos in front of the net.
And in this case, it almost worked. Red managed to hang on for the win 6-5, but it was close.
These two close games really make you wonder,
Yeah.
is this a sign of like a super competitive league where any team can beat any other on any given night? I'm starting to think that might be the case.
Yeah, me too.
Nick. Two games down, and already the HTFL is keeping us on the edge of our seats. What's really got me thinking is the level of competition we're seeing.
Yeah.
These teams are battling it out, and nobody's giving an inch. I agree, the intensity is palpable, and it's not just about the wins and losses. It's the way these teams are approaching the game. There's a real hunger to prove themselves, you know?
Right.
To establish their identity within this new league.
Yeah, like they're writing their own history right from the first whistle.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, let's rewind back to that blue versus yellow game for a second.
Okay.
That lucky bounce goal for blue.
Right.
Did that change the momentum, or did yellow keep their composure?
Well, they didn't fall apart, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It was impressive to see how quickly they bounced back and tied the game. That says a lot about their mental toughness.
And then there was all that back and forth action.
Oh, yeah.
Both teams trading chances. I felt like I needed a scorecard just to keep up.
I know.
But let's talk about the goalies for a minute.
Okay.
Both Aaron Henry and Jonathan Tyson faced a ton of shots.
Oh, absolutely. Henry faced 34 shots for yellow, while Tyson saw 29 for blue. And they didn't just face a high volume of shots, they faced some high-quality scoring chances as well.
So it wasn't just about making the save, it was about making the difficult saves.
Right.
The ones that could have changed the game.
Exactly.
That kind of performance under pressure, that's what separates good goalies from great ones.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, in a league that seems to be trending towards high-scoring games, will consistent goaltending be the key to success? Something to think about.
All right, now let's shift gears to Game 2, red versus green. Another thriller going down to the wire. What stood out to you about that matchup?
Well, apart from the obvious, Mark Braun joining the first goal club with Kush, I was really struck by Green's resilience. They were trailing for most of the game, but they never let up.
Yeah, and Jeff Manning was a one-man show out there.
Oh, he was incredible.
His footwork was incredible, and he seemed to be involved in every scoring play for Green.
Yeah. He was a game changer, that's for sure. And his ability to create scoring chances for both himself and his teammates, that's a valuable asset in any league.
Absolutely, but let's talk about that third period.
Okay.
Green ties it up, and you could just feel the momentum shift in their favor.
Oh, yeah.
What did they do differently to turn the tide?
Their forecheck became much more aggressive.
Okay.
They were pressuring red all over the ice, forcing turnovers and creating those scoring opportunities. It was like a completely different team took the ice in that third period.
It was a masterclass in how to adjust your game plan and seize control. And then, of course, the nail-biting ending. Red pulls ahead, green pulls their goalie. Talk about a wild finish.
Pulling the goalie is always a gamble, but it's one of those classic hockey moments that can either lead to a heroic comeback or a crushing defeat. In this case, it was the latter, but you have to admire their guts for going for it.
No doubt they were fighting until the very last second. So we've seen two incredibly close games, both with high scores. Do you think this is a trend we can expect to continue throughout the season?
It's certainly possible. Perhaps it's a reflection of the offensive talent in the league, or maybe it's the style of play that's being encouraged. But one thing's for sure, it makes for some very entertaining hockey.
Speaking of entertaining hockey, I have to ask, who are some of the standout players that have caught your eye so far?
Well, obviously, Kush and Braun for their historic first goals, but Jeff Manning's performance for Green was truly special. He's a player to watch for sure.
Yeah, he was incredible. His skill and vision on the ice are undeniable, and any other players making a strong first impression.
I'm also intrigued by Chris Fowler and Bryson Peterson from the blue team.
Oh, yeah.
They had great chemistry together, and they seem to always be in the right place at the right time.
They're definitely a dynamic duo, and let's not forget the unsung heroes,
Yeah.
the defenseman who's impressing you on the blue line.
It's still early to tell, but Lisa Neath, despite that questionable hooking penalty, showed some real grit and determination. She wasn't afraid to get physical, and she made some key defensive plays.
I like a defenseman who isn't afraid to mix things up. So we've got offensive stars, solid defenders, and a league that's shaping up to be incredibly competitive. What's not to love?
Exactly, and it's not just about the hockey itself. It's about the energy surrounding this new league.
Yeah.
There's a sense of excitement, of community that you don't always see in professional sports.
Yeah, it feels like we're all part of something special, witnessing the birth of a league that could change the landscape of hockey, and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And speaking of cool, what if we take a closer look at some of the coaching decisions that were made in these first two games?
Okay.
Because those decisions, those strategies, they can make all the difference in a tight game.
Okay. I like where this is going. Let's dive into the minds of the coaches and see if we can uncover some hidden tactical gems. So we've talked about the players, the goals, the close games, but what about the masterminds behind it all? The coaches. I'm really curious to hear your take on how their decisions shaped these opening week games.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the highlight reel plays, but coaching strategies are often the unsung heroes of a game. Those subtle adjustments, the line changes, the timeouts called at just the right moment, they can have a huge impact on the outcome.
Right, like a chess match on ice.
Exactly.
So what were some of the coaching moves that stood out to you?
Well, in the blue versus yellow game, I thought Blue's coach did a great job of managing his team's energy. They came out flying, scored that early goal, but then seemed to lose a bit of focus when yellow tied it up.
Yeah.
The coach called a timeout, settled them down, and they came back with renewed purpose.
That timeout seemed to be a turning point. It's like he hit the reset button for his team.
Exactly. And in the red versus green game, I was impressed by Green's coach's willingness to adapt. They were down for most of the game, but in the third period, he completely changed their forechecking strategy.
Okay.
They became much more aggressive, and it paid off.
Yeah, that shift in momentum was undeniable. It's like they flipped the switch, became a different team. So these early games, they've been exciting, they've been unpredictable, and they've definitely got me thinking about the bigger picture. What does the success of the HTFL say about the future of hockey?
It's an interesting question. On one hand, you have the professional game with its high stakes and intense competition, but then you have leagues like the HTFL where the focus is on camaraderie, sportsmanship, and the pure joy of playing.
It's like two sides of the same coin, and maybe that's what makes hockey so great.
Yeah.
There's room for everyone, whether you dream of making it to the NHL or just want to lace up your skates with friends and have some fun.
Hockey people want to be a part of something positive,
Right.
something that celebrates the spirit of the game.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the HTFL's opening week, I want to leave our listeners with a thought. What if this is just the beginning? What if this league, with its unique blend of competition and camaraderie, becomes a model for others to follow?
It's an exciting possibility, and imagine the impact it could have on the hockey community as a whole. More people playing, more people watching, more people falling in love with the game.
That's a future I can definitely get behind. So to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of the HTFL. Keep your eyes on this league because I have a feeling it's going to be something special.
And if you're ever feeling inspired to hit the ice yourself, don't hesitate, because as the HTFL has shown us, hockey is more than just a game. It's a community, a passion, a way of life. This has been Riley Bardown
And Ollie Pilstinen.
This HTFL Deep Dive was brought to you by Selly Boys Hockey Club. Their website is www.sellyboys.com.
And by Superpuck, their website is www.superpuck.net.